Some Cantabrians are fed up with being called resilient, and resilience isn't a choice they have. They just have to get on with it. You just have to keep going every day.
I think that's very true. I think that's absolutely right. I think to some degree, part of our stress relief is just to work, which is, you've just got to solve the problems. And nothing will get solved if we don't do anything. Equally, if we're in a state of mind where we can't think straight and we're perhaps depressed or whatever way stress shows in a person, we're not being useful either. So everybody tries to find some balance in their own way. It might be some friends they spend time with. It might be a community group or a church group or a sports group of some sort. It might be watching the rugby. I'm sure that's helped a lot of people sort of let off a bit of steam along the way. But we do see it across the community, traffic conditions sometimes add another layer of frustration because there are temporary roads and the roads are damaged, and there's a bit more of the old glaring across the steering wheel, and a bit of bad behaviour sometimes shows up in all sorts of ways.
You're where the buck stops. How personally do you take some of the criticism?
Well, if it's something to do with me, I take it personally, and I have to look at myself. But there are a couple of coping strategies that I have. First of all, I think that often people will say and do things and they'll be projecting their own discomfort and their own pain. So I think that you have to have compassion. And I remember a good friend of mine once said, you should always pray for your enemies, And if there are people out there who are hell-bent on using me as a focus for their frustration, all I can do is wish for the best for them in their lives. I've got to try not to take it too personally, but I'd be lying if I said that I didn't take some things personally, and sometimes they hurt and sometimes they feel unjust, but then that's a feeling which is common with all people in our city at the moment, when we all say, well, why us? Why should our lives now be tipped upside down? Why do my parents live in a house which is destroyed around them? They're in their 80s and they have health issues. Why should they have to be coping now with all of this extra pressure? But I do believe that it is actually making us stronger. And I draw a lot from old sayings and wisdoms. And there is a saying that says that which does not kill us makes us stronger. We've got very good at absorbing the sorts of things that I think, an example might be, a 4.5 earthquake that might strike you just as you've gone to bed at night, or when you've just got back into the office building that you hadn't inhabited for a while, and perhaps in another community now that might be reason to be very, very frightened. I think quite often here now people have got to the point where they go, well, okay, that's not going to be too bad. That was a little bump. We're okay. We'll survive. And so it does shift the way you think. Your reality has changed. We're all committed to restoring, rebuilding, recreating. Not everybody, it's true, has stayed. I think numbers show us around 10,000 people have left the city, and some people have to do that. That's their way of coping, and so they should. That's their solution, and they're able to do it. For many of us, we have mortgages, we have commitments, we have lives that we have to pull back together. We have a job that we've said we would finish, and for the mayor, I've got a commitment to my community for 3 years. There are certainly days when I would like to renege on that commitment. There are moments when that happens, and I go to myself, well, why put up with this? And there's nothing more I can do at this moment. So I just try to look to myself and not to blame other people. I try not to exhibit the same behaviours that cause discomfort to me on occasions. I try to behave appropriately. I try to be positive in the way that I look at what is happening around us. I try to be compassionate, for there are many people who are in real pain and who have a great deal of uncertainty in their life. And my job as one of the leaders in this community is to try to react to that in a way which does not add to the stress or pain or discomfort. At times that's frustrating because there is nothing that I can do, and everybody has a different capacity to cope, and it would be great if everybody coped really well. It just doesn't work out that way in life. So we have to accept This is a hard, unusual time. We're not the first community or generations to pass through these things, and it does actually create a strength of community and a commonness of purpose, which is unique in the modern world. We're very focused on those external things that make us what we are, we think. Whereas in reality, what we've really rediscovered is the things that make us what we are generally what we carry inside. So that's where we've seen great compassion. That's where we've seen people helping each other, giving generously, and doing what they can to help other people and not expecting something in return. And that happens a lot more now than it did a while ago, when we all felt, well, if you're not making it, that's your fault, you know. Or at least a lot of people probably felt that. So things have changed, we are changing, and that'll provide a great deal of strength in this community in the years to come. I think we have a better understanding of what we are as a community. You know, we're not just a bunch of individuals who happen to be parked up in this place. We're actually something more than that as well, because together we're greater than any one person. That's community. It's what we do for each other. It's what human beings, I think, generally want to do if they're healthy and balanced, is to be part of another person's solution as well as their own. There is a whole city that is counting on each and every one of us to do the right thing, to work hard together, to create a place that will persist. At the end of the day, my duty, I think, as an elected representative is a sacred duty. And that duty is to really look after the institutions and the values that make this place, and to make sure that we build a strong platform for those to go forward into the future, for those to be the basis of the rebirth of business, of life, of this city. I want it to persist. My forebears have been here for some time. My roots go deep into the community on a personal level. They're not grand roots. They're just about the things that make me the person I am, and much of that comes from here, and I want to see this place succeed.
What one message would you give to the people of Christchurch?
Our future is in our hands, and my message is, let's be strong, let's have faith in what we've done so far, and let's believe that we can and will succeed at the tasks that are in front of us.